Hello and welcome to Mothering Unedited. I am Sarah Grace Knutson.
And I am Leanne Hulick-Reyes.
And I am Carmen West. And we are bringing you real and raw conversations that honor the mess and the magic of motherhood.
From our radically authentic hearts, we share and discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly about the things that mothers need to talk about most.
To be heard, to be supported, and to be uplifted through authentic, vulnerable connection, so we may all rise together in our motherhood journey.
Is Shadow going to distract you?
It's okay, I can handle it.
Okay.
I can get rid of her after. Okay.
Don't get rid of her.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Greetings from Mothering Unedited. My beautiful friends here, Carmen and Sarah. Shadow is joining us as well for a few minutes, and welcome. Today we are talking about priceless gifts. My name is Leanne Hulick-Reyes, and in my mothering journey, I have been contemplating, what is my goal as a mother, and how will I know that I'm successful? I'm going to move this beautiful cat. How will I know that I'm successful? And what do I want? What is my objective? What is my objective of this parenting? And I realize, and it has evolved, I want my girl to know she is enough and that she is able and so many other things. And so today we're going to be talking about this and sharing ideas about what is our goal in parenting. And for me, it has become offering her priceless gifts. So, but first I must cultivate these priceless gifts in myself and be modeling these. So I want to talk about this, and then I want to talk about how we can offer priceless gifts in this season of gifts with monetary value. So let's dive in. So ladies, what are your thoughts on my priceless gifts idea?
I would really love for you to give us a definition of what priceless gifts are as compared to monetary gifts.
Okay. Well, in my world, the priceless gift is in the internal world. Mm-hmm. So they can be given, received, and cultivated in ourselves. They do not break down or wear out. So let's say that with my girl, I want her the ultimate goal is for her to be able and enabled. So I need to plant seeds of her ability. So this is where in the present moment I can start doing activities that would or provide opportunities for her to know and to realize and to own her ability and her enabled. So when I say enabled, like it's like her independence, right? We all want our children to be happy and we want them to be in this world successful. So what can I do now here in the present moment so that, that we end up with that beautiful ultimate goal? And it actually gave me an objective of how I want to be and what I want to do in the present with like this beautiful future imagination of ability. So with Stella, who interprets the world differently, this whole world is telling her that she's not able. So I got to tell a different story. Mm-hmm. So let's say with the horseback riding, I'm not sure if I've mentioned it before. We moved to Rocky Mountain House, and I called up this horse instructor, and I said, hey, I have no idea if we can make this happen, but she loves horses and I would love to feel our way forward. So we did, and I never knew if she would even ever get on a horse, but now 7 years later, she rides horses and people can't even imagine how amazing that is. And she puts on the saddle and she knows what she's doing, and that is full on ability. So it was like taking a chance and not knowing where we're going, but that is a beautiful example of planting these seeds or seeing the seed of interest, and then trying to use that to achieve, to give her the opportunity to know her ability. And that would be my beautiful, happy success, that she knows she's able to do that.
Yeah, that's really beautiful, Leanne. And I love how what's coming up in my mind right now is that ability to know gives her the visible evidence of capability in one area of her life, and therefore the ability to blanket that out into others. Well, if I can ride horses, then I can do this. If I can saddle a horse all by myself, then of course I can learn this other thing, even if other people are telling me I can't. Or making their own assumptions or judgments about me based on whatever they perceive. Yeah, so the intrinsic knowing is planted straight into her, instead of her looking for signs of her ability outside of herself. Yeah.
Boom. Exactly.
Boom.
I love that. The thing that came up for me when you were explaining the definition in your terms is that I feel like, including myself and my children, they're not going to necessarily know that they're gifts right away, because some of them might feel like we're taking something away from them. Like the priceless gift of teaching our children responsibilities, giving them chores or responsibilities in that sort of, that is a priceless gift. We are teaching them how to be human beings and live their life in that way, in that, you know, things need to be taken care of, even with ourselves. Like a question that I ask myself sometimes is, what can I do today that tomorrow me will thank myself for? And I don't always want to do that thing. It doesn't feel like a gift in the moment, but tomorrow it sure does. So understanding that sometimes priceless gifts don't always seem that way to the person right away when we give them.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad you brought that up because on a similar note, I don't even remember who in my life this came from, but I heard somebody say thanks past me once to themselves. And then I just took it on. I was like, oh, that's brilliant. And so I do that all the time when I encounter the situation where yesterday's me did something really nice for today's me. And I'll notice and enjoy the fact that now my day is going smoother because past me did something that maybe she didn't want to do at the time, but knew that it was going to be beneficial in the long run. And so, yeah, thanks past me. Or in the moment when I don't want to be doing it, I go, I'm doing this for future me. I just say those words, I'm doing this for future me. And so I actually haven't thought about that in quite a while. I say it all the time, but just thinking about the reason why I say it. So thank you for bringing that up.
Bringing that forward and modeling that for our children too.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, modeling it for our children out loud. Saying
Yeah.
not even necessarily in the way of trying to get them to do things for their future selves or trying to get them to acknowledge that this moment is easier because yesterday we did this, but actually just modeling it in the sense of saying out loud to myself, thanks past me, and just saying out loud in front of the kids, I'm so glad that yesterday I folded all my laundry because today we're having a really smooth time getting ready and nobody's stressed out. And doesn't that make you guys happy when mommy's not stressed out? And so it's putting it in their consciousness and the way that they're interpreting the world without it being an instruction to them.
Yeah.
And because I do really think that's important in the way that we're showing our children how to function in life from a place more leading by example and less telling them how to do it, especially if it's an area where I already am struggling, because I don't feel like my kids are going to listen to me if I'm like, you need to do this, but I haven't been successful at doing it. It's better for them to watch me go through the process of getting better at it myself, and to just be open and honest with them about like, hey, yeah, I've really been struggling with getting all the laundry folded. And because that's totally a thing around here. I can wash it all. I'll wash it all till the cows come home, but actually folding and putting away, whew. And so we have laundry folding parties and stuff like that, and I try to make it fun. But ultimately, I just need to be upfront with them. Like, sometimes I struggle with this, guys. How can we all work together to make this easier? And having them come up with solutions instead of me just being like, you guys need to help me. And
Yeah.
like, I need some help around here. I can't do it all myself. Like there's so much martyr energy in that. And sometimes it feels difficult to be strategic about how to get them to help me, but actually just being upfront with them sometimes has been the very best success. Like, you guys, I've really been having a hard time with this. I wonder if there's anything we can all do together. And then they'll be like, let's have a laundry folding party, put on some music, I'll do the socks. Like it becomes a totally different thing. And that's a gift in itself as well. So
A gift of teaching them how they can make something possibly more mundane seem more fun.
yeah, and also how we can engage in creative solution finding instead of just
Yes.
being like, oh, I feel so weighed down by this. Just like, well, okay, where do we want to go from here? How would I rather have this feel? And I
Yeah.
like it when it feels fun and like a party. So let's do it that way.
And I love that you brought up the creativity, because when Leanne was talking earlier today, it brought up that parallel to what we talked about in the last episode about expanding creativity and noticing. And Leanne, you really spoke to that with your priceless gifts of the horseback riding, where one of those big priceless gifts is the noticing, is taking the time to notice our children and what lights them up, and fostering that, and that giving them that that confidence in themselves. I think that's an incredible gift for sure, and again ties back in. So I love that.
I'm picturing, as you're talking about that, Carmen, I'm picturing it rippling out, because we give this gift to our children of being able, of us having the capacity to notice their passions, and then to instill the confidence in them to be able to follow their passions. But we're also giving them the gift of being able to notice somebody else's passions,
And
so
maybe
that
their
they
own.
can communicate that to the next person,
Yes.
and foster the confidence in the next person to follow their passions, and on and on and on. And I'm sure I will come back to this little vision in my mind a million times, but one day when I was out for a walk with the kids, and they were throwing pebbles in the pond by our house, and Caius was looking down at the ripples that kept going and going and going and going, and he suddenly looked up at me with these huge eyes and said, Mom, the ripples are infinite. And it's one of my absolute favorite moments of our entire life, because the ripples are infinite. So the gifts we give to our children also become infinite, because they ripple out to generationally their children, but also their friends. We are giving them the ability to notice and love things about other people, and it just raises everybody. It raises everybody up in a way that, like, toys could never do.
I just want to go back to Sarah, you were talking about honoring themselves. It was a couple sentences back, but that I think oh, so you were talking about I can't even remember what you're talking about, but what popped into my head is that it's an honoring of ourselves and of them. So yeah, I wanted to listen, and what I really liked when you guys were talking about creative solution finding and uh, making it fun. So this whole idea of honoring ourselves is a huge one. And when we model honoring of ourselves, then it shows them that they can model themselves what were you? Yeah, I can't remember the specific part, but
I don't
yeah,
remember anything that I said
yeah,
already.
yeah, I
So
know. So honoring, like that's a huge theme for me, and that I want her to honor herself, so I must first honor myself.
yeah, totally. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And so as this Christmas season, you know, some people have different religions, and holiday season, I don't know how we want to refer to it, but there's a lot of gift giving. And Stella's not, my girl's not really interested in lots of gifts and stuff. And so, and and like it can be endless financially. So it's like, where do you start and where do you end? So I'm focusing more on experiences. So she loves to get dressed up and go out to live shows. So that's where I'm going with uh, priceless gifts and gifts of gratitude in this holiday season. So I wanted to know what you guys, how you look at this holiday season.
That's an interesting question. For many years when I was younger, it was interesting. I was asked a question from somebody at one point, didn't your parents just give you money that you could go out and buy gifts? And no, it didn't work that way in our household. And I remember that my main goal for gift giving for my mom specifically was always to make her cry
Aw.
in a good way.
Yeah.
Cry in a good way. And so anything that I could think of that would mean that much to her, that's what I wanted to give her. So I remember one year I went and bought a children's book from about a mom from the library. And then, or not from the library, I bought it from the bookstore. And every page was a different thing. And I would write a story that I remembered about her on that page. So, I mean, it wasn't expensive. It took a lot of thought and effort. And I remember making my dad homemade CDs back when we used to do that, tapes before that. And it's interesting how things come full circle because we draw names. My parents, my husband and I, and then my brother and sister-in-law, we draw names every year. And there's 6 of us. So I mean, there's not very many different combinations of people who you're giving gifts to. And I know that every year it's kind of seemed like a struggle because you get the person's name, they give you a list of 1 or 2 items, they get those 1 or 2 items, and it kind of seems, lackluster, not as fun as it used to be. And this year, I've chosen the theme of handmade gift. And I think that that will hold so much more meaning. And, at first, like my husband was like, well, what am I going to make? Well, he makes great food. Make food, whatever you can. I mean, I have my brother's name, so I need to come up with something for him. And I've already got some ideas running around in my head. And it's interesting how when it was needed, that creativity popped in. And it is fostering more of that creativity to become the priceless gift. What will really either what does he need that I can provide, or what will really touch him in a way that it feels needed.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Carmen. I'm super curious to know how this also translates to how you're gifting with your children.
Yes. Yes. And with my children, it is a little bit different. Last year, we decided for Christmas, we actually they're quite young, so I didn't know if they would really understand this, but we got them and us a trip to West Edmonton Mall to stay in the Fantasyland Hotel and then to go to the water park and to the theme park and to basically just spend a weekend doing that. And they got a small gift from us at Christmas time plus this gift. And I don't know if they really they didn't really understand at the time about our trip, but they sure did appreciate it when it happened. They loved it. And I feel like because of that, this year will be easier to do something like that. And they get enough gifts from other people that it didn't really matter if they got something physical really from us. And this year we already have a little gift for them of speakers for each of their rooms, because they both love to listen to music. And so that will be their way to listen to their own music in their own room. So it is a physical gift, and it's also an experience.
That's really nice. Yeah, with us, we've really shifted our focus this year as well to things that will be more experiences that we can do together. So rather than having individual gifts for each kid, we've got more board games, and almost everything is going to be labeled for the whole family instead of for individual. Like they have their stockings, and each one gets a special stuffy in their stocking and a couple other little things that are just little, that are unique to them, special for them. But almost everything else, which isn't a lot, but it's also not nothing, is more like board games. And instead of Lego sets for each of them, we got ones that the whole family can build together. And I mean, there's a lot of reasons for that. They will fight less, or there will be less jealousy. And because when we were getting things for each of them, then they would be jealous of each other's things. And I was like, how is this creating harmony? And so this year, it's basically everything's just for the whole family instead of individual people. And in a way, the gift of that is it's like a promissory note of time spent together. And some of our best times, especially now that they're 5 and 7, 5 and 8 now. We just had a birthday. And now that we're at the age where it works for everybody to sit and play a board game together, then those are ending up being our favorite nights. And yeah, I'm so happy, because I feel like it's been a long time coming to be at the point where all of the people in the house can actually sit down together and play a game. And now with another baby coming, we're going to have another toddler in the mix, and we'll go through another shift. But it's so nice to just be able to sit and spend that time together. And so we're bringing more things into the house, yes, but they're things that we do together. And so really it's time spent.
Yeah.
And they all have unique ways of bringing out our personalities, and unique ways of bringing out what each kid is passionate about, because Caius is into totally different games than Finley's into.
Please continue. We're just putting on a necklace. Okay.
I couldn't. It was beautiful. I got totally distracted.
Okay. Okay, close the door. Thank you very much.
It was just such a beautiful moment. I couldn't keep talking.
Thank you. I am fortunate to be the receiver of kisses. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I love what you guys are saying. And I just want to summarize, because it's really important. Setting intention and honoring ourselves, and the priceless gift of time. So those are three main, like, beautiful things that I've heard today. And so that is all that with the creativity. That's how we like blend and shift and create this beautiful energy of
Yes.
priceless gifts.
I would say it's not just the priceless gift of time, it's also the priceless gift of thoughtfulness. So the other story I was going to bring up is that I know a lady who, for her children, every year on Christmas morning when they wake up, there is a letter addressed to them in their Christmas tree. She writes them each a letter about the year. And I know that for both of my kids' first birthdays, I asked that no one bring gifts, that they actually write a letter that my kids would open when they turn 18. And we put them all in a box. And those are things that are so priceless. Like my daughter has a letter from my grandma who passed away this year that she gets to read when
Yeah.
she turns 18.
Yeah.
Like that's so
Priceless.
cool.
And I want to share with you what I did like that. This is emotional because it's beautiful. So when Stella was born, we did a circle of women. We did a circle of women party to welcome her and her entry into the circle of women. So everyone was invited to give a blessing, to bring a blessing. So I have a book, and it has all these beautiful things of a recipe of all their blessings and advice to a beautiful girl, and she can open that whenever she's ready. So yeah, priceless. I know, right? So I'm
Yeah.
so glad I did that, and I would recommend we do that for our daughters and our sons, because it's because we as parents, like me as a mama, I don't have all the perspectives. I only have mine. And there's so much worth and value from these people in my circle, 360 degrees. So it's just so good to hear different people bring different stuff that is of so much value for my child, because I'm like outgoing and like assertive, and then another person who might be a little more quieter and introverted. There's so much value in Stella knowing that person and learning from that person as well. And so getting a message from that person, it's priceless. Yeah, I love priceless. Like
Mhm.
it's my way forward now, because uh, in the past I didn't have any awareness of that. So um, there wasn't as much intention. So in focusing on the priceless gifts, I always have the future in the right direction. Okay. So in focusing on the future, I, the priceless gift that I'm focusing on, it gives me an intention for the present. So that's a beautiful way to pull the past, present, and even the future together.
Awesome. There's something I would like to share, because as you two were going through this description of like the letter writing and these beautiful things, I've heard of these things before. And there's always that little thought that happens in my mind of like, oh, I should do that. I should do that. There's that should word that can be so tricky for so many people. And I just found myself in a tricky moment while I was listening, because attached to it was guilt that I never have. And I sat and was present with it while I was listening, and I was observing all of the feelings that were happening in me. I'm going, wow, this is so beautiful. I'm celebrating that you've done this for your children, and what a beautiful and priceless gift it is. And alongside with it is this little thread of, I feel guilty that I've never done that, and I feel it's a not enoughness. So I just decided to get curious about it, but also like really it's important for me to share, or any of us to share, when these moments come up, when we're having these conversations, because as we've mentioned so many times before now, if I'm feeling this way, then so is somebody else.
Mhm.
So here I am. Beautiful, amazing stories coming from you guys, and I'm sitting here feeling not enough.
Yeah.
So
And
where am I going to go from here?
every one of us feel that at some point. It
Mhm.
can be daily.
Yeah.
And I have learned that it's okay to start from here. So, if if you haven't done it, then there's never a good time other than right now, right? So,
Yes.
so it's not too late, because you know what? Because you're already doing a million thousand other
Yeah.
things. Every one of
I
us are.
know. So thank you. And it's so funny because I know exactly what I would be saying to a client, but then it's so
Mhm.
there's like so many blind spots and so many like almost unwillingness to see from the not enough place, or from the victim place, or the I didn't do it place and I need to feel all crappy about myself place. And there's like this, when I try to think of the solution, it's like this no. And but then, as the way that you just put it, Leanne, there's like, just start now. Just, and it inside I'm like, oh, of course. What? That was so simple. Just start now.
Well, and what's the saying? The best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The next best time is right now.
Yes,
And
exactly.
as you're saying that, I do want to tell you that, so on my daughter's first birthday, everyone brought these letters and we put them in a box. I wrote mine when she turned 5. So, and I was
Thank you
feeling
for
guilt
that.
about that too. And then I thought, well, just do it. Just do it now.
Yeah.
Whenever you can. It's still going to mean a lot.
So there's still a heaviness in my heart. So my brain is like, oh, right, of course, just do it now. And it'll be just as beautiful doing it now as it would be if I did it when they were born. And there's another one being born. So there's all these beautiful opportunities, and there's still a heaviness in my heart, and I'm feeling that. So I want to acknowledge, and acknowledge for all our listeners too, when they're going through things, that when we move through these emotional moments, not all the parts of our systems latch on at the same time. I do want to take this opportunity for me to actually grab a word and shift into it, instead of this heaviness that's in my heart. So everybody gets a demonstration right now.
Perfect. I don't have my words in front of me. Do you
It's
want?
okay. I'll muscle test from my pocket full.
Okay.
I think I will. Hold on.
I have a pathways if you need.
Okay. I don't think I needed pathways for any of our listeners. The pathways has words on this side and this side. So for anybody who's just listening, the pathways has words on the unsupportive, icky feeling side, as well as words on the supportive, wonderful feeling side. And what we do is shift from the icky feelings into the good ones, and shift energetically, emotionally, but also in the brain, so that in the future, when my system has a choice, it knows that I want to go the supportive way. That was a really quick and dirty explanation.
And so,
But this little book only has the upside words. I think that I don't need to know what the downside is. We've identified it, and I've just called it heaviness, and that's enough.
what this is also doing is changing beliefs that no longer serve us, because this not good enough lives in all of us, and we are passing it on to our children. So it needs to stop now.
So I can pass something else on to my children, and it's going to
Exactly.
be purpose.
Nice.
Purpose.
So I forgive myself for believing that I need to carry this heaviness in my heart. If anyone listening is feeling this way too and wants to say these statements along with me, go for it.
And then take a deep breath.
And then take a deep.
I can repeat it after you say it.
Sure.
I forgive myself for believing I have to carry this heaviness in my heart.
That was it. Yeah. I give myself permission to dissolve this old heaviness and bring purpose into my heart.
I forgive myself for.
Oh, it
No,
was
I
permission.
give myself permission. Okay, help me out, because it was a good one. I give myself permission to release this heaviness and
Bring
and so
purpose into my heart.
and bring purpose into my heart.
Big deep breath. All right. Let's all put our hands up in front of us. Look at your right hand. I'm looking at my right hand because the statement is for me. In my right hand, I hold that old heaviness. In my left hand, I hold purpose. I could choose that old heaviness, but I know it's not supporting me or my children. or I could choose purpose and to embrace it as a gift for myself and for my children, a priceless gift. I can't have both at the same time. From this point forward, I consciously choose to feel purpose in my heart. Now, I don't expect anybody to repeat all of that entire thing that I just said, but I choose purpose. We can repeat that.
I choose purpose. I choose to deepen my knowing that I am full of purpose and I am on purpose.
I choose to deepen my knowing that I am full of purpose and I am on purpose. Awesome. I don't think we need to go through all the rest right now. We've shifted me over, and I will just share with everybody that the heaviness has dissolved and there's like an openness. It's still a little bit like, okay, I'm listening, and hasn't fully stepped over the line. And that's okay, because sometimes it takes a little bit. But I feel open. I feel like actually there's like weight that's been taken off of my shoulders. I feel like I can stretch my wings. And that feels amazing.
And this is the power of belief repatterning. And it is changing my life every day. And I love witnessing it changing lives for my colleagues and other people. And it is about releasing these beliefs that may no longer serve us and picking something that now does.
Which is a priceless gift.
Which is a priceless gift to be able to help ourselves. And I didn't know how to do that before I had belief repatterning, because I would feel that heaviness that you're talking about, and I didn't know how to get rid of it. So I would push it down, out, and away, and that didn't fix it.
I want to also point out that trying to get rid of it doesn't actually get us to the peaceful place, because it's in a state of resistance and it's in a state of pushing away a part of ourselves that is actually hurting. And so we want to really embrace it. And then notice that the statement was, I forgive myself for believing I need to keep feeling this way, but I'm not pushing it away. I'm just letting it fall off if it's not supporting me. And there's a really big difference between that. So, and I even had land across my YouTube feed last night or this morning. Just so I follow so many different spiritual folks, and then they've got little clips and shorts and stuff. And there was one really quick one this morning that was like, stop trying to push parts of yourselves away. It's not helping. Embrace every part, embrace every feeling. And it's through the embracing of it that we can actually shift into the other side of its coin. But so I didn't want to push the heaviness away. I wanted to find out what it's pointing me to. And there's a difference.
And I would like to say that our emotions are messages.
Yes.
That it is in our best interest and highest good to listen to, because it's trying to help us.
Yeah. So I'm
Just
so
like your
grateful
body.
to myself.
Sorry.
Oops. We did a thing.
We did a thing.
I'm so grateful to myself for listening to the heaviness that popped up in my heart. I don't need to claim it as mine. It doesn't define me. It was telling me a message about a belief I was holding, and that belief was not supporting me. The belief was, I haven't done enough. The truth is, I have done so much good for my children, and all of it is amazing. And anybody who went through that feelings journey, emotional journey along with me, that's true of you too. You have done so much for your children. That is amazing. And so to have these monkeys in our heads that pinpoint in and focus on the one thing we didn't do and cause us all of this grief and angst because of it, we need to have conversations with those monkeys and get them on side. And that's what you just witnessed in me. And So I'm so grateful to myself for listening and speaking about it. And it turned our conversation a direction, and it turned our conversation a direction that's still a gift, and still a gift I can bring to my children. More so now because I listened than if I had just sat there with the heaviness and been silent.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I was just going to draw the parallel between the emotions and physical pain is also messages.
Yes.
So we can understand that, emotional pain is a message, emotional heaviness is a message, physical pain also a message. It's noticing and listening and acknowledging these. Like if we ignore a physical pain, what happens? You know, Usually nothing good. Same with the emotional stuff. Yeah.
And it's the same kind of noticing that we've been talking about practicing with our children.
Yes.
Noticing passions, also noticing the upsets, and being curious about what is this upset actually telling me, instead of just getting frustrated about the behavior. Yeah. Thanks for
And
playing
again,
with me.
sometimes, sorry, we did a thing again. I was just going to
Wow.
mention sometimes that's not, we're not always able to do that right in the moment.
No. No.
And that's okay too.
That's okay too.
We're
Yeah,
human.
it takes time. And um so here's another beautiful gift on that exact note. Sometimes we're not always able to do it in the moment. Oh, there's your kitty. I wonder when mine's going to come along. Um Sometimes we're not able to address things in the moment in the way that we wish we could, or that we know we have the capability to, but we don't always have the capability to, because there's other big feelings coming up for us. The most important gift out of that is the pattern of coming back to resolve it later,
Mm.
of coming back and just saying to our kids, if it was like a moment where mommy lost it, or um even I was just short with them getting into the car or anything, to, as soon as I'm back in a calm space, to just turn around and say, you know what? I'm really sorry about that. That's not who I want to be. That's not how I want to show up with you guys.
Mhm.
And I want you guys to know that you don't deserve to be spoken to that way. And to not have it still be laced with any of the like, but you did this and that was really frustrating for me. Like, no, like they know. They know. And so the coming back and just saying, hey, let's resolve this. I'm really sorry that I spoke to you that way, or I'm really sorry that this happened, or I'm really sorry that I didn't show up as my best self in that moment. And I love you. No
I
matter
think,
what the moment was.
yes. And I think that can also be translated to the other relationships in our lives. I know that, you know, when we're with our children and our families, a lot of times we feel very safe. And so we're more open to lose it because we feel safe with them. And I also know that sometimes it's not restricted to our family. And the fact that we've had practice doing that exact thing that you're talking about, coming back to ourselves and owning up to that with our family, can also be done in the many relationships in our lives. And what a way to model a better world.
Yeah. We weren't supposed to talk about that till a later episode, Carmen.
Sorry.
And all of this is priceless. And when we focus on the pricelessness of the moment, okay, like, oh, the pricelessness of the moment, then then it changes the trajectory of the future. And even if you come back, as you said, because when we're not like regulated, we can come back, you're still changing the trajectory of the future.
Exactly. Yeah. So just because something icky happened doesn't mean that it needs to be icky from now on. It's never too late. It's there's always an opportunity for resolution. There's always an opportunity for reconnection and for love to prevail. And I mean, there we have it. There's always
Yeah.
an opportunity for love to prevail.
I
Boom.
love that.
So, is there anything more we want to talk about with priceless gifts today, lovely ladies?
I just want to invite everybody who's listening to give yourself a moment to think about one way that you have already given your children priceless gifts or a priceless gift, or one way that you could, and bring in this beautiful sense of purpose in your heart to go ahead and do it.
I would also love to expand on that by adding yourself into the mix.
And I would also love to add that it can be just so small. It can be so
Yes.
easy and so small, but it has a beautiful, infinite ripple, as we've been talking about.
Beautiful.
Whew.
All right.
So, yeah, I've been taking notes and I did summarize partway through. And I just want to say that our emotions are our messages. And there's this coming back to resolve later, which is totally okay. And I loved when once lovely someone said, being curious, and what is the upset telling me?
Mhm.
So those are just some of the ideas that I could grab and I'll share with you one more time. But the recording will have all of this, and there's just little beautiful nuggets that can just one's going to stick with us, and then it's also changing the trajectory. So offer yourself these priceless gifts, and we look forward to sharing more in the future. Thank you for
Thank
joining
you
us.
so much, Leanne.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Mothering Unedited. We are so grateful to have you here with us and are excited to connect with you in whatever way works for you, whether that's through one-on-one coaching or exploring the other works we have created and continue to offer mothers, parents, and the world. Follow us on Instagram at mothering_unedited. To find out more or connect further with any of us, you'll find Sarah at soulbirth.ca, soul-birth.ca. Leanne at coachingwithleanne.org, coachingwithleanne.org, and Carmen at carmenwist.com, carmenwiste.com. Until next time, may you find your brave to share your unedited authenticity and honor yourself through the mess and the magic of motherhood.